When they were doing the redevelopment for Liverpool 1, when they were digging the foundations for the John Lewis building, they actually found those original steps. They photographed them, but the archaeologists who were doing the research didn't know the importance of them as a legitimate site of the sale of enslaved people that could be identified. So they took photographs of them and then crushed them. So the crushed steps of the old customs house are now in the foundations for the John Lewis building. But again, they've commemorated the site of the customs house by naming this particular street as Customs House Place. So this area, as I say, if we would have been stood here about 250 years ago, we'd actually be in the old dock now. It would be very wet. And this revolutionised trade, particularly for the large hulled ships that were used in transatlantic trade. This is the real beginning of Liverpool's dominance over Bristol, because Bristol was a river port. Large bottom ships, large hulled ships could not get right into the town. Again, if people have been to Bristol, you'll see that the docks are actually on the river. The fact that we're a seaport and the fact that these big hulled ships could come right into this dock, the level of the hull, the level of the deck would be level with the quayside. You could step on and step off, so this would revolutionise turnaround times. You could just literally step off, pick the goods up and take them onto the warehouses. Before the development of this this dock, ships would have to stay, the big hulled ships would have to stay out in the river, and the river's tidal. So if you didn't get everything off ship, you'd have to go out, wait in the deeper water, bring the ship back in again. People would row out, take things off, put them on the smaller rowing boats and bring them in. So you could imagine how long this would take. This allowed you to get a ship in and out on a tide, because you could obviously close the doors, keep the ship afloat, take it off at leisure, and then by the time the tide came in again, the ship could go out again. So this was truly revolutionary. And because it was so revolutionary, this dock stayed up until about 1820, so it had a life of more than 100 years. And this was just out of, they wanted to honour the fact that this was the beginning of Liverpool's fortunes. Eventually it was filled in, and the new customs house was built on this site. That customs house stayed here until it was bombed in 1941, and then after the war ended, it was demolished. Again, a great loss to people who are interested in the architecture of Liverpool was the old customs house. But again, I don't think you remember it, do you, Dave? No.
I tell you what though, if you go up to Blundell Sands and go down to Hall Road where the coast erosion used to be, and walk down to where the River Alt exits into the Mersey, each side where they dump the Blitz rubble, you'll find huge pieces of stonework, and they are part of the customs house.
The old customs house.
So some of the steps, I don't know about the steps that you're talking about, but some of the steps could be there.
Yeah. Well, that's the 1820 one, which replaced the one that the slaves took place on. They filled in this dock and built this massive building, the Liverpool Customs House, on its site.
Well, that's where you can see bits of it.
The first customs house was also, well, goodness, that's a good point. Because this wasn't here then, was it? I think it might have been up where the exchange is now, on the next building along.
I've got a load of old maps that I've downloaded on the computer, and I think it'll say.
I know where it is now. I've just remembered. I know where it was. It was on Water Street, at the bottom of Water Street. Yeah. There's actually a drawing of it. It was a very ordinary looking building.